Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the return of episode reviews. But it's not the same way it was before. I have two guests with me to discuss a very special series that just dropped today, or it will be yesterday when this is uploaded. Goodbye, Lara, joined by my two friends, Mickell Pickell and OtakuBox, otherwise known as Brian. How are you guys?
Oh, great. All the better for your asking. We're his friends. He called us friends.
wait a minute.
We made
Co-workers.
it.
Co-workers.
I was just the
So
editor.
close.
Yeah, this is, I don't want to spend too long on the preamble here, but this is going to be a new kind of structure to episode reviews from the past, but it's going to be a lot more free flow, a lot more unscripted. Anything can happen, anything can change. We're probably getting our cameras out next week or in a few weeks, whenever that happens. And it's going to be a good time. I don't want to commit to, if something comes up with me or comes up with them, I don't want to commit to there will be a new review every single week, but at the current moment, that is ideally what I would like. And I wanted us to start, I proposed this new series, Goodbye, Lara, because I thought it would align with all of our tastes. And I can say, coming off of episode 1, I was right for me. But what about you guys? Did you guys like it?
You hit a home run for me.
A home run?
I was shocked. I was shocked at how well you knew me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but yeah, I was almost angry at how well you knew me.
See, I knew
So
Brian
rude.
would like it because he's a big Review Starlight guy, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how you would feel about it, Mickell. But I knew you would probably be into it too because you have the Made in Abyss love, and there's obviously some overlap there as well.
Well, yeah, funnily enough, I'm also a Review Starlight fan.
Okay.
Nice.
The biggest thing that got me into this was Kinema Citrus, right?
Yes.
Like the same guys who piloted Made in Abyss, Review Starlight, and I'd been anticipating it, but didn't know much about it going in. And yeah, that first episode really, really ticked all the boxes that I have personally. I was shocked at how good it was.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. And Brian, I assume you loved it as well.
Yeah, the one thing you just said brought up as well. This is an original, so that I enjoy originals in general, but an original from the studio that also did Review Starlight with a director who worked on a lot of the Starlight stuff, including the movie, and there was some DNA in the episode as well. But it was a treat to watch.
Yes. Yeah. And we can talk about, the Review Starlight overlap and all that. But just first impressions, we'll start on a spicy note. Okay, so the biggest criticism that I've seen for this episode is that, this is a new telling of The Little Mermaid. Like, it's an original, but it's based off of this existing property. And in order to kind of supplement that, or the reason why this episode is the way it is it's speed running through all of The Little Mermaid to get to the new content. And I loved it personally. I'm completely okay with a speed run when it's done this well and when it's, directed this eloquently, and the script writing and, everything came together for me personally. But I'm wondering, did you guys have any issues with the pace of the episode, the way it's kind of, going through a lot of the same motions that you may already know? I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are with The Little Mermaid, but I assume you're at least somewhat familiar.
I am shocked that's the criticism, because that, unironically, was the thing I liked the most about it. Like, I've always been a fan of subverting expectations, right? Like, one of my favorite mangas at the moment is Tower Dungeon, which does this very thing.
Oh, Tower Dungeon reference.
Oh, yeah, I've got to get it out there. Love my boy. But like, 15 minutes in to this episode, and we get this huge twist, right? I adore the fact that the series was bold enough to go, oh, you probably know Little Mermaid already. Like, it's confident enough that you at least know, like, the basic story beats of the original tale. And then to completely pull, like, the rug from underneath you at the 15-minute mark, I thought that was great. Like, and you couldn't. I don't think it could have worked as strongly, at least for me, if it took the whole episode to get there. The fact that halfway through this episode, it's convinced you, oh, you're not watching something that you think you knew. I loved it for that reason.
I completely agree with you, and I think that's why the speedrun worked for me, is that it wasn't by the numbers. It like had its own, even when it was telling a story that's already been told, it still had its own spin and its own identity while telling it. And like even if they had like taken, you know, multiple episodes to do it, I think it would have been worse for it. Like I think it's better that it got this out of the way in the first episode and did it so well. So now, like, every week forward, I'm going to be talking with you guys, and I have no goddamn idea what's going to be happening in this series.
Yeah. And how exciting is that?
Yeah, it's it's interesting because I also felt that kind of pacing ding when I first watched, but like the way the episode moves, it kind of brings you forward, and you're not really stopping to think, oh wow, a lot of things are happening, you know, and it's like you're getting lost in it. That doesn't really happen in the episode. Like it's very consistent in how it tells all the key details of that classic fairy tale. So yeah, I think if people want to, you know, levy that criticism of how fast it happens, yes, we speed ran an entire story, but to get to the actual story, it's kind of like a necessary evil. That's how I saw it. Like, you know, do we want to spend 2 episodes and then we get the actual like story, or do we just get it out, pull the Band-Aid off, and we get there? And in such a spectacular way. I think, like you said, like if it did it in any other way, maybe, you know, I wouldn't have felt so excited to watch. But because of how spectacular and how well directed everything was, the speed run, I was completely
yeah.
I think a necessary evil is a good way to put it, but like you said, like it doesn't even feel like an evil when it's done, you know, this well. And that's kind of like when you're talking about this episode, obviously I think the hardest thing not to mention is just how insanely beautiful it is to look at, like at all times.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The colors are like one of the like things that really popped out, like the usage of colors through a lot of the scenes, the reds and blues really popping out and like framing the characters.
There's that scene in the middle of the episode, and it really, obviously the whole goddamn episode is insane with just the general artistic direction, but there's like this scene in the middle where Lara is talking to her father, and her father is like, you know, chastising her for doing, you know, everything that she was doing with humans. And I loved the way the colors were like reversed, where like they were completely silhouetted in this blue tint instead. And like you would think like, what, you know, I got used to seeing Lara with red hair, and now she's like completely covered in blue. You would think that would look like very bizarre and strange, but it looks just so right for the tone of the scene and the way they're directing it. Just incredible direction across the board.
Oh, it's stunning. Like any time you pause, you can take a screenshot and be a wallpaper. Like I was watching this, like being reminded of Flip Flappers, which has like a really a really kind of flat, but it works really well color palette, and like it brings out its red and blues really well. But this felt like that, but on steroids, and I loved it. Like there were moments I had to like, just pause to kind of just see and take in everything. Like there are moments where I like one moment in particular really stuck out to me is when Lara's in her little in a room. And it's full of like little relics and stuff that she's collected from items that have dropped from the surface. And they're just floating about in this scene. And like it's stuff you wouldn't really be paying attention to. But the directors clearly have like enough foresight to go, if we have these items flowing about, your attention's immediately drawn to them. There's all these little things like that I don't know, it just really stood out to me. And I think part of the reason for that too is its color. Like these items are brown in a place that's blue. So you're instantly looking at all these things and taking them all in. You have like a parasol, I think, that's like floating about and spinning that's like purple, which clashes against like the red hair. Like, it's all very, very well put together. Like I have to stop a few times watching it just to take it all in. It's excellent. Color work is like second to none.
Yeah, and it's also very, the way you were mentioning the items and like the the props in the scene, it's very dense in a way that a lot of people are calling back to when they're watching it. They're thinking a couple comments that I saw were mentioning how it felt like they were watching old 90s cell anime. And that was a very, very prominent visual characteristic of old cell anime, is how dense the frames were, because they were, they were drawing all the things on the cell. It wasn't, just placed in post or in the background. And I noticed that as well in this episode, how many like just little details there were in the effects animation and the background animation. It was just visually everything you could possibly want. Probably, I want to say, maybe the best thing that I've seen visually this year. Like, I don't want to throw around a lot of hyperbolic statements, but it really did look unbelievably good.
There's some like really crazy details, like during it was at the beginning of the episode when Grace, disguised as the grandma character, she was talking to the king there, and like that animation of her like rubbing her hands, like the detail on that, I was like, what, like where did this come from? Like it's such a detailed animation. And in that same scene, when we're showing her transforming, there's these little rocks coming out of her cape at the very bottom. Just like tiny details like that, like really sell like the character of the scenes really well.
Yeah, they loved her. Like, I swear, her character animation was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, anytime she was on screen, I'm like, oh, they are having a blast with this character. It's excellent.
Yeah, I fully agree. And you guys have your own unique perspectives on what we're going to be talking about, and I want to add my own unique perspective because this is kind of common knowledge, but I am a bit familiar with some of the people behind the production, and the most prominent person in the production. The reason why I was so excited for this series to begin with is the director Takushi Koide. I promise I'm trying to say that as best as possible. This guy, like Brian mentioned at the beginning, he was a big Revue Starlight guy, like very involved with the production of the series and especially the movie. If I recall, I think he did the full direction of the second to last review between Brian, help me out here. What were their names? I'm blanking. The Godly Sword Fight with I should know these names. Guys, I'm not LARPing. I do love Revue Starlight.
Claudine and Maya fight, was it that one?
Yes. That second to last sword fight, like all the phases of that review were directed by the director of Goodbye Lara. And Mickell,
that makes so much sense.
You will appreciate knowing that he also directed the Made in Abyss season 2 opening and the God episode. I think it was episode 10 in season 2 with Reg and Faputa.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So this is like
favorite.
This is like the guy. Like as soon as I heard that he was directing this series, I was like all in on whatever they were cooking here. And
wow.
I think if you think back to that Made in Abyss episode or Revue Starlight, any of his work, I think you can start picking out on some of his quirks and some of his style of directing. And something I loved in this episode, and we'll talk about the soundtrack as well, which was unbelievable. But something I loved with the soundtrack was just the general flow of the scenes and the way that they transition from one to the next. And that's something like in that Made in Abyss episode in Revue Starlight, like he's just a god. He's a fucking god at doing that. And it's no exception here.
Yeah. I'm shocked, but also not surprised with that context now. Because I know, I think the creator, from what I understood, I know they worked on Revue Starlight. They weren't the main director, but they assisted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I didn't know much about them outside of that. So to hear that, And to see those parallels, yeah, that makes so much sense. Because like following this was so easy. It was so clean. You know, I think it maybe faded to black twice, and even then I appreciate them doing it with respect. Like, they're not abusing that thing. Like, it was so good. Oh, that makes so much sense. Phenom, you know me so well.
I mean, yeah, that's why I really wanted to bring that up in case you didn't know, because I figured you would appreciate it. But like Brian, I'll let you chime in on this too. But when, especially with the soundtrack, and that's another thing I really wanted to bring up, the way it feels so organic in the episode, the way the soundtrack is overlaid multiple scenes, and it's kind of used as like the guide through the scenes, and like you hear it changing and escalating or de-escalating, and it's genuinely movie quality in a way where I truly wonder if this was potentially pre-composed. I don't know if that's the word, but you know what I mean, where they like compose film scored for the series, where they compose the soundtrack after everything's already been made, just to get that like final touch on making it feel very deliberate. Like, it didn't feel like somebody went in after the fact and just like placed tracks at various points. Like, it felt like the entire episode was crafted around the soundtrack in a way. And I wonder what you think about that, Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking out for any interviews that come up, just because the quality of soundtrack really did feel that way. There is, one example is the scene where Lara is with the prince. You hear the crescendoing music, and then the knife comes in, and then immediately the music stops, just like that. There's that moment, and there's an earlier moment as well when Lara is in the prison and Grace comes in, and that transition between the pensive, tense music when she's being confronted with her father. There's like no stop. It goes from this really like abrasive soundtrack to like a really soft, mellow soundtrack when she's in the prison, and there's the transition there is like so smooth that
it really is.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was like very intentionally done. The composer Yuma Yamaguchi,
my goat,
has done a few things that I'm not familiar with, but I am very interested in. Link Click, I think you are interested in. Phenom, you're familiar.
God, so good.
For me, he's done music for Undead Murder Farce, which
I heard good things about that.
Yeah, I enjoyed.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And also Metallic Rouge, which I think less of that
not
show,
good things
but
about that.
but the music was a highlight.
It's music bangs though.
The music was so good. Yeah.
Oh, you guys both saw it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't that bad. It had it gives you high expectations to start, and it just loses you very quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But while watching Metallic Rouge, the music was one part where I was like, okay, I can keep watching this because the music is kind of carrying forward.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, seeing his name here, and I'm like, okay, the music, it's going to be guaranteed really good, and it did not disappoint here. The one thing, and I'm interested to see if the further episodes will change this, because, we're doing this retelling of Little Mermaid, a fairy tale. So a lot of the soundtrack in this first episode, we hear a lot of strings. It's very like violin, harps, these lighter instruments that you would usually associate with fairy tales or this kind of like old aesthetic. And
I see what you're going. Where you're going with this?
Yeah, it's very heavy-handed, not in a bad way, but just like almost every track, it's like violins, harps, and this very strong string element to it.
Very different to Link Click.
Yeah,
well, I was about to say that. Like, I could see, like, if you're going where I think you're going, like, I could totally see, in modern day, him drawing on like Link Click music, like very lo-fi, kind of modern.
And that'd be cool to see, because I think that there's a certain range when I'm looking at a lot of the shows he's done in general, like Metallic Rouge, sci-fi, Undead Murder Farce is kind of like supernatural kind of show, and Link Click more, I'm assuming, more urban aesthetic. And here again, he's moving between a bunch of different aesthetics. So I'm very interested to see how the music would potentially morph as we go forward.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that as well. But just in general, like, it's hard when I'm praising the visuals not to also praise the soundtrack, just because they were so intertwined. Like that final scene of the episode So goddamn good.
Oh, immaculate, dude. Immaculate.
The fact that we saved the one vocal song just for that moment. Such a good touch.
So
yeah.
good. I really hope to hear more vocal songs, by the way. Yamaguchi,
Yeah,
It really felt
I
like
trust in you.
Yeah, please. 'Cause it really felt, at least in my opinion, like it was almost like, you know, the orchestral stuff I used to with like the Little Mermaid originally, and you
Mhm.
pair that with the music from something like Professor Layton. There's like I loved it for that reason. Like it does incorporate a lot of like the strings you mentioned earlier. And yeah, I just think it makes a lot of sense going forward, given that there's been this 200-year gap now, like the 200-year leap. Like to you know try to put us in like the more modern context, you would imagine the music would also supplement that. So yeah, it's very very interesting point on your part. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they go with it. It's great so far. Like musically speaking, yeah, it as you said, Phenom, it's impossible not to watch this and only you know applaud the animation and the direction, because the music was such a big part of its identity.
I mean, it's hard not to applaud everything. Like this is the kind of a lot of people, I especially like in the Sakuga animation community and like various other communities as well. Like a lot of people want to, pin down one thing that they're praising, but like to me, the best shows are the ones that kind of bring it all together in a way that feels completely seamless. And this is definitely one of those kinds of shows. And I think that's a good segue, what you were mentioning with the 200 years later, because I wanted to, this is the magic of an original anime. I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on where are we going from here? Like, what is episode 2 in this series? What is the end goal?
There's this, the show starts, or the episode starts with this shot of her with that girl at the end, and it's kind of like, I think the text is like she won a boxing competition.
Yeah,
it's kind of foreshadowing at the start. So I'm wondering if it's like, is Lara being sent here to help this other girl achieve her dreams, and at the same time she starts to love humans more in that way? That could be a potential storyline, I'm guessing.
Okay. So yeah, like
maybe I'm a Yuri fanatic, but my brain's going true love.
So I did want to talk about this because we have this entire episode about her falling in love with this prince or whatever, and I'm curious because that was my thought as well before I even saw any content for this series. Is like, oh, they're doing another star-crossed lovers like Yuri series, but by the end of this episode, I'm not so sure that that's the direction they're going in.
Yeah, no, it's what I do really like about this kind of 200 year gap that's occurred as well is I think if we didn't have such a huge leap, you could kind of if we didn't have the pre-context of Lara's actually been to the surface already and she's gone through the narrative story beats of the original Little Mermaid, you would think, okay, episode 2 would be they're on the surface, they have to learn how to walk, they have to learn the etiquette and that sort of stuff. But that's already done. Like we've well beyond that now. So to then jump 200 years later, I'm curious what the more I guess mundane parts of existence will be explored. Like whether it be this person is learning now about boba tea or doing laundry with technology. Like I really have no idea where you go. I mean, from here, and I'm loving it for that.
They're gonna that's part of the appeal of the concept. There's got to be some literal fish out of water gags and jokes in the next episode. I'm just curious,
but not in a way I've seen done before.
For sure. I'm more so curious about what the you mentioned the picture at the start. This she helps her win a boxing competition. That feels a little plain to me. That feels a little that's our end goal. That's what we're, building this entire series to. And that could be in its favor. I can't say for sure now, but I'm curious thematically, what difference is there? What reason do you have to make a continuation off of The Little Mermaid? Because The Little Mermaid, we saw in this episode, thematically, the idea was that she wanted to love humans, but eventually she was betrayed and she kind of admonished herself for feeling that way. So I'm thinking like maybe she's more cagey in the beginning of this new life of hers, where she doesn't feel like she can trust humans anymore. And maybe because I see this archetype of this like boxing girl at the end of the episode, and in another story, that's the character that I would think it would be the cagey one. Like, oh no, don't get involved with me. I don't want to deal with this right now. But I think it would be an interesting subversion if Lara herself was the one who didn't want to be involved with humans this time.
Yeah. That's a good point. I do wonder though if like the yearning for connection Lara's felt with humans though would like surpass that. Like, what even if after everything there's still like a part of her that wants to connect with them? Because I imagine you're kind of right. Like I imagined, after everything they've been through, the betrayal they've experienced, the fact of the matter is, like, everything that's occurred is the result of someone's dream and infatuation with something, right? And she has to live with that. So I do think that, probably to start off, I would imagine there's a level of reserve that eventually, will break out. But at the same time, I'm curious to see if it'll maybe once again subvert expectations and go, well, no, she's still pretty damn keen on like getting to know people and making friends even after that last one. Like,
it's hard.
Just don't know with her.
Yeah, it's hard to like get rid of that aspect completely. Like, you can't just have two characters who are just kind of like assholes. Like, you definitely need the Lara type who's eager. But I think it'd be interesting.
There's an interesting conflict in that too, because she's doing this presumably to like help her family and help everybody who got screwed up during the whole curse situation. So it's like, that's a really interesting kind of dynamic. She, if she comes off as cagey, yet she feels obligated to also help, and those two clashing ideals. And she knows that what she did in the first place, going to humans, was something that she wasn't supposed to do, but now she needs to do it. So there's a lot of like conflicting ideas I can already see in her psyche that would be interesting to explore as well.
Yeah, well, did we hear, like, at the end of the episode, was there any, like, indication of what she needed to do to, like, save her family? Like, did the witch tell her anything specifically that she had to accomplish?
It was pretty vague. She said a trial, whatever it had.
A trial? Okay.
There's that slight moment before she gets punched where the girl is
great
she had
moment
fish.
By the way, I feel like we should mention that. very good moment. But go on.
But she was holding a fish bowl, and I didn't notice it at first until I saw it again, and people were bringing this up. But the colors of she's like talking, and I think the implication is she's talking to the fish she's holding in her fish bowl.
I think the fish. I wanted to mention that. I think the fucking fish is talking. I think she is a talking fish.
I was like, at first I was like, she must be talking to a phone, but she's just holding a fish bowl and she's talking to a fish. But the colors of that fish, people were pointing out, match the color scheme of Grace.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. So like, is that our like what's the word, like, vessel to communicate to Grace through the series?
Yeah, and it would be kind of interesting. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see if like she's like following Lara around and like using magic to like make up problems for Lara to solve for her amusement. Like, maybe those are the trials she needs to do.
Like possibly like a witch descendant or something. Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think, like, if is this just a random occurrence, or like was the witch always like this girl's like, pet fish?
she always she's like fish.
And she's like literally leading Lara to this girl to like solve her problems. That would be a fun direction to take the story, because I do feel like the witch isn't like pure evil. Like, I feel like the witch has like this very lovably malicious identity to her.
She did offer to. I mean, it was kind of her fault, but she did also come back and it's like, "Hey, we can solve this again." She is giving her a bone there.
Yeah,
I'm biased, obviously, because I like tall women, but she's easily my favorite character so far. Which
okay,
reminds me so much of Ozen, so maybe that's.
I was
part
literally
of it,
about to say you see the Ozen in her. That's really funny.
Yeah, so part of me wants to believe that there is like, it's not so malicious. Like there's like there's something else going on. But yeah, you just don't know. And that's what I've been loving about this so far. Like every time I think I get it, the story goes, no, you don't. You have no idea. I love it. I love being strung along like it. So I think that first episode was so strong in that I'm both excited and nervous about how they continue to do that going forward, because you can only do that for so long.
Yeah, I was also like, this is only one core, so 12 episodes, I believe, not 13. But it's like,
yeah, it's 12.
Yeah, supposedly we have to, in 12 episodes, have Lara figure out the trial, save all of her people, make this bond with this girl, and I'm a bit apprehensive about which story beats might get less development than others. And the track record of the writer, who's credited Anna Kawahara, has no anime writing staff. Like she's only written for TV dramas. So
we're taking a gamble.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it when I say the last time we saw something like this of recent memory for me was One Direct Priority, whose anime writer, no previous staff credits, but has written for TV dramas. I didn't want to bring it up, but the connections are too uncanny there.
These tough conversations have to happen.
This will be a funny thing to look back on. Let's make a bet right now. Does this show turn to shit by the end? Does this turn into a bad show by the final episode? Place your bets now.
I'm predicting it now, boys. This is going to be anime of the year. It's going to be great. Okay. There's not going to be a single flaw with this show. And you can clip this, and I'm certain it's going to age like fine wine.
Because I noticed the connection. I'm loving the show. I'm not saying I'm doubting it, but for the sake of the clip, I will be on the other side. Even though I have full faith, but.
We have, well, no, you have to commit. Brian thinks it's gonna fail and be terrible and the worst show ever made, and Mickell thinks it's gonna be anime of the year.
This is gonna top Made in Abyss. It's gonna be that good.
So I will. What direction should I go in? I mean, I fucking love the first episode, just like you guys. But I feel like it's more interesting if we're on different pages. So I'm going to be the fence rider. I'm going to say it's going to be good, but not great, but also not bad either. And I just want to say, I don't believe anything that I'm saying right now. I fully want this to be an amazing series.
Yeah.
But I do think that's really the fun with original anime like these, and I really wish there were more made, because we could be talking about this right now, and if it was based on a manga or a light novel, I'd see some like asshole in the comments being like, well, who's gonna tell them?
Do they know?
Do they know?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So it's cool that everybody's kind of on the same page. Like, not even Little Mermaid, fanboys can spoil anything, because we're already past everything.
Yeah, no, this is such a breath of fresh air, because, like, as you just kind of said, nobody knows what's to come, and that's the exciting. Like, that's what's exciting about it. Like, there's no material we can base this thing off of. Like, we're just going in blind. And I think maybe, again, prior to the twist at 15 minutes, you could have had some kind of reference. You could have had a point of, oh, yeah, I'm familiar with, Hans Christian Andersen's work. Like, I'm familiar with the story more or less. But for the series to go, oh, we know that, and we do not care. I have such a respect for it. Like, I have such a respect for them going, we're going to do our own thing, and we're just going to see how it goes. So I really hope this series does really well. I really hope a lot of people get around it, because it is easily one to look out for. Like, this is an anime of the year contender, I imagine, if it keeps this up. It's a very good first episode, but as we said, anything could happen. But very hopeful it keeps it up.
I'll have a good vibe by episode 2. Like, when I see the direction we're going in the story, I'll be a bit more confident in saying, like, yeah, this is real shit. Right now, it's just an incredibly good what's the word?
Premiere.
Pilot. Yeah, premiere or pilot episode. Like, it's presenting a concept, and I'm all the way in on the concept, and now I just need to see, like, what the rest of the series has in store.
Sad truth is, Metallic Rouge did the same thing to me. I was like, this first episode, this is great, and then oh man.
That's okay. There's always the good and the bad. This will be one of the good ones. Do you guys have any additional thoughts? Any things that we haven't talked about?
There's some, whoever's listening in the comments, here's some nerd stuff for any of the nerds out there. There's a lot of like really cool
symbolism. I love the nerd stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool symbolism and recurring bits throughout the episode. Like, we've been praising a lot of the production aspects, which of course are really great. But I think, the intentionality behind some of the things we saw. So like, for example, immediately we start with Lara. She eats a fish. She bites down, eats a fish. Very humorous scene. But that idea of biting, if you follow throughout the episode, we come back to that a lot. She bites the statue head, which is very ominously foreshadowing what happens later on. Grace also eats a fish. And then when Lara comes back to the ruins, the first thing we see is her biting a fish as well. And immediately that for me, sparks the imagery of biting down on, the forbidden apple. That kind of idea
I didn't think
of
about
like,
that.
yeah, like you have Lara who shouldn't be so interested in humans, just like, the forbidden sin imagery comes to my mind there. So if anybody out there, is interested in that kind of analysis, go through the episode again and really look out for which moments we see that kind of like violence, where it's biting or stabbing, like we've mentioned before. There's, the knives as well. There's a lot of like visceral imagery throughout the show, and a lot of that to me like harkens back to those kind of like classical themes.
Yeah, that's a very good.
I
call.
love your brain. When I was watching, I was like, this just reminds me of my dogs. Like, this just reminds me of a guppy. He just keeps biting things. Meanwhile, you're like, oh, this reminds me of the Adam and Eve story. I love it.
Dude,
awesome.
This is part of why I invited Brian, because I knew like he would come up with like some crazy shit that I never even like thought of while watching the episode.
Oh, good.
There's also we mentioned this throughout as well, the Revy Starlight connections. But I think the most obvious one is the literal stars we see throughout the episode. Those like star transitions that we get. I thought that was a really, really awesome touch throughout. And again, for any of the nerds out there, take note of when we get those star transitions. And at the very end, when she's being sucked back into her world, we see like the stars come out of her body. So my reading of it is like, in very key moments throughout her life, we get that star transition. And at the very end, we see that star coming out of her body. So like all of her life experiences are being expelled out of her. This kind of idea of everything she's done is wrong. At the very end of the episode, we get one more star transition, and it's during that scene where she's being brought out into the current day time. So it's like all these moments with the star transitions are marking moments of her life. It comes out, her life is ruined, but then we get another star transition at the end because this is a start of her new life, essentially. So I think if you want another game to play while you're rewatching the episode, really take note of when we get those star transitions, because they're very intentionally at key moments, and it really pays off during that transition scene when she's getting sent back.
Yeah, I missed that. Wow, good pickup. I watched it like 30 minutes ago and I missed it completely.
I mean, dude, you get a bigger pass than I do. I've had all day to think about this episode.
I've had time to like ruminate.
No, but it is really cool hearing that. Like, again, everything in the direction feels so intentional. So even stuff like that, really subtle things like that, that can't just be a coincidence.
I feel like remember, what?
Oh, sorry, no, you go. That's okay.
Mine was, don't worry about mine. What were you going to say?
Okay, I was just saying, because I even remember like that scene where she emerges from the water and like, she sees, it's Kyoto, I think, right? Because I forgot the name of the river she's in. But I remember like when like she's emerging, there's like all these little water roses that are in the upstream and stuff.
Yes,
as well.
I noticed that too.
Gorgeous little things like that. They're just hidden in plain sight. Like, I imagine, most people are just in awe. They're watching this thing, not really like, like grabbing onto everything, and yet these animators are adding all these small little bits and bobs just to enhance these scenes. And
I mean, I think that's
really
what they're going for.
Right.
I think that's what they like, is they don't like, a lot of these guys don't even want you paying attention to the smaller things. They want it to kind of all complete the bigger picture, and it definitely does.
Yeah, what a spectacle! Oh, it was such eye candy the whole way through. Like,
Brian, you got any more nerd details for us?
I got one here. So we opened the episode with this really beautiful shot of the undersea Pat Kingdom, I suppose. It's really bright.
Yeah.
This one's just a cool kind of parallelism when it's the exact same shot when Lara comes down and everything's ruined. But like we just see the colors like are so immediately dim, and this is like another play on how well the first episode plays on colors, just like evoking previous scenes, but like with such stark differences in colors, it was just really impactful.
Yeah, and it like completely changes the way that you're looking at the scene.
Yeah,
I noticed that for the human world as well. The like in that last scene where the prince betrays her, like the entire setting is completely muted in color, and it's like really well done.
Yeah, there is a very, I haven't fully put down my dots on it, but like when we look at a lot of the coloring of like that scene we talked about with the Lara's in blue all of a sudden, if we look at other scenes, like the mirrors are in red specifically, and we get Lara framed in red, the potion is blue. There's a lot of like little details like that where I feel like there's a lot to extrapolate of like why certain things are certain colors and how that can play. I feel like that could even be a play later on in the story too, with if like the boxing girl, her color palette's all black, which is reminiscent of the father who had the black mermaid tail. Like there's a lot of like weird connections like that I'm very keen to see if it'll play out.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's there for a reason to get you thinking about that, and that's another thing I'm interested in is to kind of close out my personal thoughts on the episode and like where it goes from here. In the final scene, I noticed one of her sisters is out there, like in the real world, like she's existing and living there, and it makes me curious if the rest of her family is out there as well. Like the witch said that she like is like hibernating their souls or something, but I wonder if that means that they also like maybe reincarnated or are all in this world as well, and Lara has to find them and do something for them, or something of that nature. And I'm glad, most of all, I'm just glad that these characters that we're seeing in episode 1 aren't just like gone, like they'll still be in the story.
There's I looked a little bit of the Annulus page, and the prince character does have a prominent, even though we see him for a bit, he is listed as a character there, and I looked at it, I'm like, he has his own listing.
I saw that too.
I was like, I figured he'd only be in that, just in this episode 1, but I'm like, there might be more with him.
He's on the poster.
On the cover, right?
He's on the poster with he's part of a trio. Like that's kind of why I was saying earlier that what if we don't go the Yuri route? What if like this boxer girl is like helping Lara eventually, find her love that she was trying to find in her first life or something,
or love triangle.
My brain goes
or love triangle,
like a descendant. Like my brain goes like, it's been it's 200 years since the first time she was on the surface. What if it's like a story of like this is a long lost descendant of the original princess she fancied. Which I think that's quite romantic in its own way. Part of me still hoping for the Yuri route. Part of me still believes in the dream.
They could totally go the other direction where like the prince ends up wingmanning for her.
Ooh.
But I'm definitely super curious about the direction that goes. I hope it's not the first thing. I don't know why this is the first thing I think of when I see this trio, but the first fucking thing I think of is G-Quux, Gundam G-Quux. I really hope to Christ that is not representative of this trio.
Wait, now that you bring it up, I could see it, and that's another cursed connection we've made.
Yeah. Please, no. Oh, man. But, yeah, if there aren't any more nerd details, I think that's our final thoughts on episode 1 of Goodbye, Lara.
We make it official every episode going forward, not to add more to your plate, Brian, but I would like a nerd session in every episode, like just a section where it's just you doing that.
My nerd segment. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna fucking say that. And I was also gonna say, like, while you were like saying these insane details that I never even thought of, I was gonna be like, it's also probably a good time to mention that Brian has his own YouTube channel where he makes entire videos about this stuff, and they're very, very good.
Some in the chat might know me just as the PhenomSage editor, but I do in fact make my own stuff sometimes.
Yeah. If you've seen my videos, you know how talented he is. If you've seen his videos, you know how talented he is. Go check out OtakuBox on YouTube. I'll link both of them in the description, both their YouTubes and whatever else they want me to link. And obviously I should mention Mickell Pickell has his own YouTube channel as well, and it is fantastic. Why don't you tell them about what you do?
Well, it's mostly manga focused. I'll read a manga. It'll change my life in some way. I make a video talking about it. Last one I did made me run a marathon. So it's easy to say I'm very influenced by the media I consume. And that's my channel in a nutshell. Yeah, I read manga, talk about manga, get influenced by it, make a video on it. Yeah.
He's underselling it. Like, check out Mickell's fucking, I don't know if this is his latest. I don't think it's his latest video, but the all creatures in Made in Abyss video that Mickell Pickell made. Good. It is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I like that show. It's all right. Yeah, not a bad watch.
Yeah, the passion shows through. Who knows? Maybe I assume Mickell wants to make his own videos, but maybe we'll be here next season for Made in Abyss as well. But...
Oh God, please! Oh Lord.
But yeah, I think that's it. And obviously, you're here, so check out the rest of our reviews. This is the first of many, so get subscribed and get excited because this was a lot of fun. I'm excited to record more with you guys.
Hell yeah.
And me too. It's been a pleasure, boys. It's been real fun, and I'm so glad again that we're starting it with Goodbye, Lara. Like, you really hit the nail on the head with this.
Great first series for us to check out, and I'm locking in. You know what? I'll take back what I said before. It'll be great. It'll be a great series. You heard it here first.
But yeah, thanks again for having us, mate. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. And thank you if you watched this all the way through or listened all the way through. We'll see you next week.
Till then.
See ya.